Our tour of inland Gabon began with a long drive to the northeastern city of Makokou, where we would be based for 3 days of collecting. The morning of our departure, we experienced our first frustration of the trip when the vehicle and the driver were late, and another when the van that did show up was smaller than expected. All 11 of us and our luggage fit into this van rather uncomfortably, and off we went. The first 5 hours of travel were relatively smooth. The last 10 hours were on the dirt roads that make up most of Gabon's highways between rural cities. After 15 hours, we arrived in Makokou, tired and cramped, in the middle of the night. We awoke the next morning to a beautiful day in northeastern Gabon. Our home for the next 3 days was the Hotel Balinga Palace, a comfortable lodge that was reasonably priced and has a good restaurant. Makokou is the largest city in northeastern Gabon and sits in the middle of large tracts of undisturbed rainforest. The city sits on the banks of the Avindu River, the largest waterway in this portion of Gabon and an important part of the local economy. Makokou is a town that is full of small businesses selling everything you may need, but probably not everything that you might want. The people here are friendly and helpful, and they go about their daily lives not unlike we do at home. Experiencing a different culture is always interesting.
I think it was the full Chelsea team out there.
Our first foray out of Makokou took us southeast into the densely forested regions near the eastern border of Gabon. After a couple hours, we stopped the vehicle in a low-lying area and organized our equipment for a search for water.
Did anyone bring some bags? I have lots.
We walked into an area where several local villagers were tending crops. Some of them directed us to a place where we could collect fish. Without the local farmers' help, we never would have found this trail into the rainforest.
All right. You all done now?
Yep. Oh, we haven't started.
This location was a shallow blackwater stream with a slow current. The bottom was sandy with a lot of leaf litter. The pH was very acidic, very close to 5.0, and had a conductivity of less than 20 parts per million. Most areas of this stream were too small for the use of a seine. In the one section that was large enough, however, we were able to catch many interesting fish in one time.
Yes, do it this way. This is a good idea. And now out with it. And now out with it. Yes, this is perfect.
Hand nets proved to be the most effective tool for collecting fish in this small stream.
The border.
Everybody with a hand net and waders spread out and concentrated on one small section of the waterway. After 2 hours of collecting, we had to pack everything up, say our goodbyes and thank yous, and walk the 2 kilometers back out to the vehicle. As we drove back north towards Makokou, looking for a new collecting location, we ran into a slight problem at the next village. Our trip was interrupted by the repair of a bridge. Unfortunately, the river was too deep here for our type of collecting. Otherwise, we would have spent the time searching for fish. We were as interesting to the villagers as they were to us. We had a lot of fun hanging out and meeting some new friends in Gabon.
Look at the dogs grooming each other.
That's some of them.
Say, comment allez-vous? Comment allez-vous? Bien? Oui. Je m'appelle Ted. What's your... Coca? Ah, nice to meet you, Coca. Thank you. Merci. We had just time enough before dark to stop at one more collection location. In this place, the local villagers were soaking cassava, a food source that has cyanide in it, and that toxin must be soaked out before it can be eaten. Mikkel Håkansson from Sweden spends most of his time on these trips taking pictures, but he's very interested in new types of shrimp, so whenever he can, he'll dip a net along a shoreline and see what he can come up with. Twilight on the equator is very short, only a few minutes from light until dark, so for most of the trip back to Makokou, we had to drive with the headlights on.
Your English is polished in Australia?
After a day of collecting, we take some time at night to organize our catch. Here, Gabriella is placing some fish into a photo tank to get a better look at them. While the fish are in the photo tank, we take the opportunity to get pictures. Here are some of the fish that we collected on our first day in Makokou. It was a good day. After a day of collecting, it's time for a good meal and a good night's sleep. Tomorrow morning we get up early and do it all over again.